Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is yet another scene in Edessa by Night, Season 2. And tonight we find ourselves in a fine establishment where kings and mortals alike sometimes find themselves smoking a little bit of the hashish during the evenings, which should be allowed for anyone. And in this establishment, at least we find the noble Tremere Commodus, is, as you can see in Scylla, is, venturing into this establishment to, hang out and meet people and see what the night has to bring. And who knows, maybe he will meet someone. He's
already inside. Sitting with a couple of a bit more standoffish gentlemen. They seem to be a bit more measured, shall we say. They're just sitting in the corner watching, and there's a very, very attractive-looking woman, of definitely a Franken, sitting and just watching the place. She seems to be enjoying herself.
Oh, that's probably establishment, since it's they're United. It's not going to be stock full with people. Commodus in his robed attire, like he's basically dressed almost like you would expect a Tremere in this time period to be dressed with, like your robe, cloak, the entire package. So to hide his yellow eyes from being spotted by everyone, so people don't find out, is more than he seems to be. He looks around and eventually settles his gaze on Madeline or the beautiful woman and the group in question, and he will start to casually approach them. That's and just nods in greeting to everyone, like hello.
The two guys look. I mean, they're both bald, which is not so common, and they look a bit like keep on moving, but they look as though they want to communicate, like, yeah, not interested in whatever you're selling. However, Madeline will I just need to see what I need to roll. Give me one moment. And that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many is that? Yeah. One moment. The woman will just look at you, and she just looks at you, and he just smiles and just says in French, "It is quite all right. You boys, please, you can have a moment for yourself, please. It is quite all right. I will have a moment with this gentleman." They just, like, they don't say anything. They, like, you could probably make out that they grunt a little, but they just nod at her and proceed to leave. And Madeline or this person just shows you or points to a seat. Please, do not be shy. You can see.
Commodus will his eye will follow, will just trail the leaving men before he will give her a nod and slips into his thank you. He says as he puts as he elegantly gets down, and he kind of said, "So if I can ask, who might you be?"
Well, one who is closer related to you than what most would think. She smiles.
Ah, it's always nice to find relatives when out walking.
Quite so.
Yeah.
Oh,
He,
I have
he
not seen you before. Uh, might I have your name?
I am Commodus, he says, simply. Commodus Barney Tremere is my name. He says,
She paused
okay.
for a moment. Well, quite the times to be one of your family with the war going on.
Indeed, indeed. It's been quite a tumultuous period for us.
Well, honestly, many lessons can be learned from war or from its very few respites, such as this fine city.
You know, indeed, you're correct there. Many lessons can be learned, but I personally do prefer peace. As while lessons are valuable, uh, stability is preferable in the long run, in my opinion.
Oh, it is.
In
For
its
most of
moments,
us, it is quite necessary to maintain a stable life. One is never happy when one is hungry. And she smiles again,
indeed.
very widely. And then she just, oh, pardon my manners. My name is Sister Madeleine. I am recently, very recently returned to this my previous home. You
Welcome
probably
back then.
know, you probably know that Madeline is was someone who has been here in the city and is. I'm not sure how. I mean, depending on
In
how
a
far.
position of prestige.
Yeah. Also, I mean, if your character has just arrived, then obviously it's up in the air
No,
whether
no.
or not he knows. But if he's been here for a while, then you
Yeah, he knows.
probably know the name.
Yeah,
But
yeah, he knows. He was so welcome back then. It's someone with your prestige, with someone who's been of your standing.
oh,
I've heard many a thing about you.
all good, I hope.
All good, I can assure you.
Ah,
All good, I can assure you.
well, you cannot always control the rumors about ourselves. But I must say, it is a very good pleasure to meet you. But
Thank you.
yes, I have been, well, on a scholarly pursuit, which the city itself does not provide the best place for such studies.
Is
And,
if
well, I had to take a voyage for myself. But now I am back to assist the city in whatever way I can.
excellent. If there's one thing I can appreciate, then it has to be scholarly journeys. I can understand the need and desire for such things.
Hmm. Well, you have as far as I know, no particular needs. My clan have a, well, what shall we say? Study is mostly conducted in quite unhospitable places, as to normal people.
Mm. One can find learning in so many places,
Quite so.
hospitable and otherwise. Did you go anywhere in particular during this journey, or was it
Well, it
more
was
widespread?
hmm, well, a few places, but mostly. couple of fishing villages on the banks of the Mediterranean. The water was a particular fascination of mine.
I see. Well,
And the
I've
bed of the sea is also a very good place to conduct certain trials.
the sea can indeed be a place of trial. Many a story, many a poem has been written about the sea and its changing nature. That's that's a fascination that many people have. I can assure you.
Quite so. So, what brings you to this? She looks around, and you can, without rolling, you can detect a slight look of like not disgust, but just disregard for most of the people here. And she just pauses and looks around, and then she just says, "This fine establishment this evening."
Well, as uh, as more suitable locations have been temporarily decommissioned, I have sought company like we do from time to time, and it led me here. This is not a place I particularly favor or frequent, if I am to be honest.
Oh, okay. I believe that the normal place we would meet has not been open for business yet, so it is quite understandable.
At this
And
point,
he,
sorry, go on.
I said I was just going to say he nods, so go for it.
At this point, a robed figure enters, wearing the black robe of a Dominican friar. He comes in. He's reasonably big. He looks reasonably young and reasonably athletic, and he comes in and sits across the room. His cowl is up, and he appears to order some variety of drink, and then sits there and does not drink it.
Commodore glances over at this young and athletic monk, which is sometimes a rare combination, to put it mildly.
He's not technically a monk, actually. I apologize. He's a friar. The Dominicans are
Yeah.
friars, so they're like
Yeah.
traveling.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but clergyman,
Yeah.
which is not of a usual combination.
He's not
at least.
cloistered, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not cloistered. But fine.
Priest in a place like this. I suppose it takes all kinds.
People, such establishments as these, based on what I've heard, he says after a slight moment of hesitation, they do seem to attract people of things and occupations.
Well, with some of the things they have to go through, I suppose they have to get their minds off it somehow. And she looks over at this person.
The main tell for him is that he has made absolutely no overtures to drink the drink he ordered.
Madeline is also looking at it, and she just sits there and just. Should we go and talk to him? Join him?
Why
He
not?
seems quite lonely.
Lead the way. He just prepares to get up and will follow Madeline over to this new fellow.
Madeline comes over and just, good evening, good sir. Might we join you?
The robe figure looks up and sees these rather odd-looking two people. Louis has blush of health, and he's quite high on his road, so he appears human at first. But yeah, he'll look up, and he'll say, "Oh, of course, please. I'll be very happy if you join me." And he'll move up slightly so there's room, or I'll grab a stool from another table or something.
Madeline sits down with a smile. She, as well, is also fairly has a fairly human appearance, and then she just sits down. Of course, the usurper looks like death itself, but oh well. Such as the Tremere. But no, anyway, Madeline just looks at him and just says, "Well, good evening. I do not believe I have seen you. Are you a recent arrival to the city?"
I am Father Louis de Montfort of the Dominican Order. I've been in the city maybe around 6 months, between a year. I've lost count. I'm
quick time out. Then you probably recognize Commodus at least because he has also stayed in the city for a couple of years.
Louis has basically not really interacted with any kin on kind of social levels until now.
Okay.
So yeah, he's not been to any Elysia or anything.
Okay.
And he will actually offer his hand to Madeline. He will say, "Our Lord protects." And he will touch her lightly on the hand, and she will feel that he is cold. This is his way of confirming that he is in fact kindred, as he suspects she is too.
Good evening, Father. Commodus says, and he also... Yeah.
Madeline just smiles at him and just, I suppose he does in certain ways.
Good evening, my child. How do these nights find you?
Well enough.
The nights are well enough for me as well, I suppose.
I think we may have some things to discuss that I would prefer not to be pried upon. Shall we ask the owner of this establishment if he has a private room, perhaps?
Let me take care of that. Here, Commodus us, and he goes, to basically get the private room so people, the group can talk.
As he leaves, Louis looks at Madeline. What a helpful gentleman.
It would appear so.
Have you been in the city long?
In the past, quite a long while, but I've been away for quite some time. Only recently arrived. Back to this city.
You are returning home then, the prodigal daughter.
No. No. I have not returned home. Nor do I wish to return home. My home is long gone. And the better for it.
He nods. Home is wherever the good Lord has found a place for you.
So yeah, I just assume the group eventually moves into the private room. So, conversations.
Yeah. So, we will move into the private room.
Madeline doesn't respond to what you just said. She just smiles at you and just gets up, and the three of you will move, or the three of us will move to a room. She will, as they get in, she will just, well, Father, it has been, yes, I have been on a scholarly trip for quite a long while, and I have only recently arrived back in the city. Please, my name is Sister Madeline.
An honor to meet you. I am William de Montfort of Clan Bruja.
And Commodus removes his hood to reveal a very pale face and shit, and long black hair, and a pair of yellow eyes that aren't glowing, but basically he has Sith eyes from Star Wars. It basically just goes, I'm Commodus of Clan Tremere. Or Commodus Bonnie Tremere is my full name, yes?
Upon seeing
Pleasure to meet you.
the eyes, Louis instinctively kind of crosses himself. Apologies. I did not mean to be shocked by your appearance. It's an honor to meet you both.
I can assure you it's fine. It's unfortunate side effect that came with age, but we live and we learn, don't we?
Side effects of the aging process. Unusual for our kind.
Not aging per se, but trying and failing, I should say, or experimentations, if you will. But it's of no consequence, really. It's just cosmetic.
So, I would ask a favor of you both. If you have been more familiar with the city than I have an almshouse in Riverside, help those poor and the poor and the needy. But I don't know the layout of the city. Although I've met the Prince and Seneschal when I first came here. But you could perhaps fill me in.
Sure. Is there anything in particular you would want to know?
Months ago, I met the Primogen of my clan briefly for an introduction. Man named Azir, I believe, a Saracen.
You know,
And he told you little?
I made my introductions. He told me the various rules of the city and the places that I could set up. Riverside was unclaimed, and I saw that the kind there needed guidance. So that was where I set up.
Oh, very noble of you.
It's not noble to do the Lord's work.
Some would say so. She looks him over for a moment.
Sure. You could even venture to peer name if you like.
No, not at this time. She'll just. I must ask you one thing.
Of course.
I hope this is not. Have you heard of my name or someone to my? I might have a past that might catch you off guard or maybe even put you off somewhat. I just wanted to make sure that there is no problem in this.
I have not. No. Like I said, I know very few people in the city. Should I have? Am I speaking to a Primogen?
No. It is quite alright. That is not the problem. What I was thinking of specifically is I was once on the road of Christ, but no longer. There are those who would call me an apostate, and well, I merely wish to inform you before you were to take any begin to make judgments on my behalf.
I understand, Madeline. If you wish to discuss this, your reasons for leaving, perhaps I would be open to it.
I might be.
Those who have strayed from the Lord's light, the Lord is never more blessed and more pleased when they return to it.
Well, I'm more interested and happy to hear that you help those less fortunate. That is indeed good. I have seen many many pious and high lords prison themselves the best of mankind, only to have them shun the weak, the poor, the hungry.
The job of lords is to rule, and the job of my order is we are mendicant. We own no possessions. Everything we own belongs to the church and to God. And this is our job to do the Lord's work wherever we see it. And here there is lots of work to do. The other sons of Abraham have strayed. And the schism between our two churches is growing. If the Lord's true voice, as spoken by the Vicar of Rome, can be strengthened here, then I will be doing my work. But one cannot ignore the poor and the needy. They are always the first victims of war and strife.
Indeed, they are. And it's good that someone like you can help heal where the poor may suffer. You know.
Just remember that there is that one part of Islam that should not be, well, it is a quite honest request as to not enter that place. You might find yourself wanting to help those people, but I would implore you to stay away.
And what area is this, and what obstacle should turn me away from my Lord's work?
Well, did the Seneschal not inform you of this when you first met them?
We briefly met, perhaps I have I've forgotten. I'm a man of weakness, after all.
Regardless, it is well, there is more than one, of course, but one place to avoid is the Fountain of Abraham. It does not agree with us.
Yes. I've heard.
Sorry, what did you say? I was scared. What did Madeline say? I didn't hear her.
The Fountain of Abraham.
Abraham's spring or fountain.
Yeah.
I've heard of this.
I know it is placed to homeless and some people of lesser station, but it does not agree with us.
Well, he looks very pained at this. Truly, it is difficult. These holy sites, these holy places, and it makes you ruminate upon the nature of us Canaanites. That the Lord does not want us in his holiest of sites. Still, there's plenty of work to be done elsewhere.
Quite so. Have you come all the way from Franken, or
originally Languedoc, but I was in a monastery there, and I was shown the truth of the world, and then I traveled around Europe and eventually settled here.
Actually, I'll have to roll for that.
Once I also stepped onto the plains of Languedoc, but that time is long gone now.
There's a place of strife at the moment.
As you mentioned the stuff about a monastery, Madeline is completely. You can't really. Well, you can try and roll, but she seems not to react to it at all. Actually,
I guess we're doing minute sub versus P&E, right?
Yeah.
What are we in? 2? Yeah. We in dice roller 2?
Yeah. Well, I am at least. And I have 5 successes, as you probably can see.
Oh yeah, nice. I have a measly singular solo success. So yeah, he sees that she does not react, but he doesn't glean any information from her.
How long were you in the monastery? If I may ask, of course you can say that this is a tool personnel or.
No, of course. I was there 3 years under the sun, another 2 under the stars, and then I left on my mission through the Holy Roman Empire, through Eastern Europe, down into Greece, and then through Asia Minor, and eventually here.
Interesting.
And I'm going to roll some dice.
You were.
Because that's not all the truth. Sorry, one second. I just need to roll. As that was slightly a lie, I have 5 successes.
Damn!
Yep.
Super liar. Excellent.
Can I top 5? No, I cannot.
What a believable young gentleman.
Madeline will just. She seems to stop at something you said and just say, "You were embraced within the monastery."
Yes. Yeah. One of the patrons of the abbot.
Interesting.
It is. It's hard to know. What the boards are. I'm sorry, that's hilarious. Your perception empathy is 3 dice.
Yeah, I always keep forgetting taking empathy. I never take that skill.
It's badass.
It always beats.
That's
always
playing
fights
hard
me.
mode. That is hard mode.
Yeah.
That is hard mode. It's the worst thing.
I know, but I mean, I actually,
And
this is obviously a side thing, but I actually think for dominate clans it makes a lot of sense because dominate and empathy don't really go hand in hand. But yeah, he continues. It's hard for our kind, those embraced, to see what plan the Lord has for us.
Perhaps that hardship is the point.
Perhaps.
Of course, there are
But
different
yes.
perspectives on it, but
Of course, I've met many varying opinions. Keeping the beast in check is a difficult thing. Following a road is not always the easiest, but as you say, perhaps that is the point. It is not supposed to be easy. It gives us discipline, it gives us faith, it gives us confidence. And if we are able to master the ourselves, then perhaps we will be able to master the evil of this world.
that is the ideal. I am. I'm walking on the road of humanity still, personally. I don't remember. I don't remember off the top of my head if it's noticeable if you're Humanity 5 or not. But if it is, then yeah, you can notice this.
I believe humanity counts as one higher, so you're I don't think you actively. I think it's 7. You effectively as having blush of health.
I am not. Anyway, he looks inhumanish. So good movie.
I mean, you'll just look a bit pale. Like you can spend a blood point quite easily.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, not.
it's like at 4 or 3 you begin to like.
You really look creepy.
You begin to feel like okay, something's wrong with this guy.
Yeah, humans feel a predatory kind of aspect to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, he says. So, what should I know about the city? I know there is a treaty has been, And he'll look at Madeline. I believe our clans and the Sons of Cappadocia. To keep the
Yes,
Elmore neck here.
we have not taken a side, and we have made this city as a respite, a place for the battle not to spread to. Something I personally very much appreciate.
A side look at the Tremere.
Indeed, one can say that the treaty was necessary due to the long-standing conflict, which brought only harm to the city. So, indeed, it was a wise course of action.
Besides, this conflict will not be resolved within this city. This whether or not this city would be involved would not make a great deal of difference to one way or the other for this country. So,
No,
but then
that's good.
again, I have only very recently returned to the city. So
I hear the townships of Bavaria, Transylvania, and north of the Danube have been ravaged by this war.
as they will with any war, but yes,
I was just nods.
Lewis will change the subject fairly quickly as he realizes that maybe putting his Tremere new acquaintance in a slightly awkward position, and it is not a particularly polite subject. So, what of the other clans? I believe mine have set ourselves up as allies of the Cappadocian and the Losombra, and there are, I believe, two factions within the city. You know, the Magic Circle and the True Heirs, I believe.
I have heard
Indeed.
of some of these things. Yes,
The Magic Circle is comprised of my clan, obviously, and aspects of the Ventre and the Toreador. While the True Heirs, well, let's just say they are composed of factions that are not as benign towards mine as as the ones in the Magic Circle. I'm just, as character, I try to remember it off the top of my head. The Asamites, Gangrel, and Semisa, to be more exact, are the main members of it, at least.
I believe some others also.
Indeed.
The Salubri of Acre, I believe, have a small presence in the city.
Yeah. But I was referring to clans, so it's...
You must forgive me. When I was embraced, they were.
Time changes much. At any rate, since you've been here for some time, how have you found the people of this city that you have encountered? I know you didn't have that much canine conversation partners, but have you met any mortals of interest?
The church is not overly strong here, especially not for us Latins. The Saracens are misguided, but seem to be reasonably. They seem to be peaceful, no matter how misguided their no matter how misguided the Holy Book is.
Indeed.
And poverty is not too bad. There are many flourishes of the city. The trade is it's obviously a blessing our Lord has sought to give this place that many places in Europe do not have, especially places outside of Italy. And But there are poor places. Riverside is poor. There is much crime there. There are much whoring and larceny and money lending. All these things that they leave victims behind. And hopefully I can in some small way be there for them. A soup, a prayer, a helping hand.
I'm sure that it will patch the wounds and help help turn the area around in whatever degree it's possible. Yeah, not in it gives it what it kind of looks like an encouragement nod. So yay,
Thank you.
Kurt.
And what about you, Sister Madeline? I must ask, what order were you part of? Or still are part of, I do not know. Again, as you said to me, I do not wish to pry.
Why? It's always good to be curious. But what exactly do you mean when you say order?
Your honorific sister. You were a nun at some point?
She almost spits the words out, or spits the word out. Yes, I was.
Does she seem actively angered by having to talk about this or being prompted to talk about this?
Do Peony?
Sure. Look. I have 2 successes.
She is not trying to hide that there is something there really bugging her. Whether or not it's talking about it or having to. Maybe it's the fact that she has to say or confirm that she was.
If I have brought up some painful aspect of your past, I apologize.
No, it is fine. I should talk more about it. Actually, it is a bit of a failing of mine. To be perfectly honest, I should really talk more of it.
Well, I'm not ordained. I cannot perform the holy rite of communion. But if you like,
She laughs at you, and she just, that is not what I meant. I am no longer a sister.
I
I
understand.
use the word Sister Madeline to remind mostly myself that this is a thing that will be with me, and through it, I will gain quite a few insights into things. Likewise, when I talk to you about it and the feelings it brings up, well, it will help me one day as well.
Uh, at this point, Commodus seems to realize, and as much as I've enjoyed sharing your company, I have other things to do this night. So I wish you a continued good evening, and I will see you again soon, I'm sure. He pulls his cloak back over his head and nods before we start moving out.
An honor, Brother Tremere. I hope we will speak again soon.
I'm sure we will.
Likewise, Commodus. Please
I'm
have a very
sure.
good evening.
Thank you. And I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. And he leaves.
Well,
And Lewis sits there for a moment. The Tremere are odd, no?
Quite so.
So new, so ambitious.
And yet they have not been obliterated en masse, been able to gain much, which would imply that one should not in any way get on their bad sides, no?
There are rumors obviously circulating, but if those rumors are to be believed, they have revealed the Ubri to be demon worshippers. In my years, I've met some, and they always seemed very pious, very wise. However, maybe they were just competent. It's hard to know in these times. Truth becomes subjective.
Who indeed would be the worst of the two? I cannot tell. Not in earnest.
You did not mention your clan. If you do not wish to reveal it.
Oh,
or,
no,
not.
no. It's quite all right. I am of the Magisters, so we are on the same side, I suppose you could say.
Size of status quo and peace. That is good to hear, frankly.
Yes. And the Seneschal, the current Seneschal, seems to have, seems to be quite capable. This is good.
Who is that, sorry?
Madeline knows the name, but this player doesn't.
Okay, that's cool, yeah.
But she will say, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah. I probably would know as well, actually. Well,
he is the Seneschal, and yeah, he is most likely, he's, from what I've seen, very, very capable man. Also around Primogen.
would you care to pray with me for the safety and the peace of this city?
You can do that. She pauses, catches herself about, she's just about saying something. She stops and, well,
I'd like to pity you.
You can do that, fine. She will just look at you or look at him and just say, well, she just says, well, I'm quite sure it is a lengthy process for you, and I have certain things I need to see to, having only arrived so very recently.
I understand.
But you say that you are normally in the riverside?
Yes. The almshouse, St. Nicholas's Blessing. You can find it easily.
Very well. I am sure we will speak in the very soon future.
I do hope so. I plan on tending the upcoming Elysium. I hope I will see you there.
Likewise.
I'll pray for you, sister.
Madeline just, she doesn't hurry or run out, but she does part. And for the casual observer, one would probably see Madeline a little bit on edge or a little bit just bothered by something.
What about the observer who is watching her very keenly?
As she leaves, And as you said the thing, well, how many successes did you get?
Oh, my other one I got 0, but I could do it again for that other comment if you like. I'll do it again, but let's say it's a higher difficulty because the last one was very recent. So we'll say this will be. You can oppose it with a manipulation if you'd like. If you wish to. This one I would have 2 successes. Actually, quickly, let me check my specialty. I do think it's in this. Nope, it's not.
Yeah, you get the impression that she probably, to be polite, like it seemed more of a flair, of like an addition to make an exit more palatable, I suppose we'd call it, or like she didn't want to be a bother, or either maybe she was in a hurry, or whatever it was. It's
Lewis, as Lewis was in his own mind attempting to elicit some kind of response for when she leaves the room, once she's gone. He will look around, and the slightly pious face, kind of innocent and wide-eyed, pops, and a slightly more malicious smile crosses it before he recomposes himself and also exits. And I believe we can call it in there.
Thank you very much for participating in this scene of Edessa. Good night.